Aloha everyone, this is Lenora, Hawaii's Pickle Lady. Today I'm going to show you how to make salmon head soup, Thai style. I learned this in Hawaii when I used to work in a restaurant, Thai restaurant, and they would make this soup, and I've made it many times over because I really like the taste of it. Now it's probably some of you think, ooh, the head, it's kind of gross, but no, it's all right. So this particular one I have, they cleaned it really well. They took out all the gills and washed it really good, and I washed it again. The only thing is, the teeth are there, but when it cooks, it'll get soft and you can just pull out all the bones and whatever you don't want. So this is the salmon. There's a lot of meat on it, and you can just use it like that. Next thing we have is we have lemongrass. I think most of you are familiar with that. It's actually quite long. The leaves maybe will be about total maybe 2-3 feet. And usually they cut it off because I guess like green onions, they cut off because it gets kind of wilted and ugly. So they leave this much. And you can grow this very easily at home. If you have a stalk like this, I cut off the root, but you can also just cut it off about 2-3 inches, and then you can stick that part in the ground and it'll grow. And once it starts to go, it just keeps on going. So it lasts a long time, and it'll probably survive the cold if you keep it watered nicely, okay? So what I'm gonna do is, you want the bottom part because that's where all the flavor is. And it's kind of soft because a lot of these things I have frozen because I can't always get to the store and get these things. So I found that if you freeze them, it's fine. So I had this frozen. It's a little soft now. So what I'm going to do is I have my mortar and pestle, and I'm just going to pound this. So I'm going to pound it to release all the juices. You don't have to do the leaves, but the stalks, you want to get the juices out of it. And lemongrass is used in just about every Southeast Asian dish. Chinese also use it. My grandmother, she was, in her 90s, collect all of this because they would grow it in the backyard. And she would make a big pot, fill it, put these in, and fill it with water. And she would cook it for several hours, and the whole house smelled like lemongrass. And she would use it to wash her hair and to bathe with. I've never seen anyone else doing that before. Now, if you have the long leaves, sometimes what I do is I fold it like this, back and forth, and then I use the leaves as the string to tie it and tuck it in. And that way it won't get all over. But in this case, it's not that big, so I'm just gonna fold it in half and put it in my pot. Now I have here a pot, and this is very easy. You can all do it. All you do is you get your supplies and you put everything in the pot. Cover it with water, bring it to a boil, and cook it for 1 hour. And it's good. Oh, this lemongrass. It's a lemony kind of flavor, unlike your regular lemons and limes, but it has that kind of taste to it. Sort of a medicinal kind of taste, okay? Now, I also have kaffir lime leaves, or kaffir, I don't know how people pronounce it differently. It's actually a lime leaf, but it's usually piggyback, so there's another one here. But in this particular ones, they just cut it off. So I have a handful, small handful, and sometimes I just kind of like twist it up to, again, release the oils. And it's really different from regular lime leaves. It's a very pungent kind of smell. And the Thais and other Southeast Asians use this. It can be at home. I had a tree, and it was very big. Looks like a lime tree, but it has a lot of thorns on it. And then you could pluck off all these leaves, and that's what I used to pick. And then I would go home and I'd freeze it. And I even brought some here to the mainland. And so, but here I can buy it in the Asian stores. So that's really good. The other thing I have here is galangal. Now this is also frozen, and it looks like a giant ginger root, very fat but kind of brownish color, and it's very, very hard. So I can't use, even if I buy a 6-inch piece, that's too much. So what I do is I get a cleaver and I sort of cut it or chop it. So I have pieces like this. So I'm just going to put those 2 pieces in the pot. And then the other thing I have is garlic. So a clove, a head of garlic, and I use my mortar and pestle for this. It's just easier. And then it's easier to peel then. So I just take the cloves out here. And sometimes if I, since I cook a lot and I use a lot of garlic, what I do is I peel it all like this, have a whole bunch, and then I have my mini processor, and I'll grind it up and put it in a little 8-ounce jar and stick it in the fridge. This way, when I want garlic, I have it ready all the time. But only thing, it takes time to process. Now, you can also buy peeled garlic. I know Costco has it. For a long time, they didn't sell it here in Vegas, but in Hawaii, you can get it already peeled, a jar. But it's more expensive. So if you have the time and you don't mind peeling these garlics like this, it's okay. But the other thing to warn you is the first time I bought a bottle of the peeled garlic, I didn't realize that it would spoil fairly quickly, or maybe in a couple of weeks or so, it'd start to get moldy. So I didn't check it for, I don't know, maybe a few weeks. And then when I went to get some garlic, oh my goodness, I had to throw them all away. They were all moldy. So if you have garlic, what you can do is you can either put it in straight vinegar, or you can put it in any kind of liquor like wine or hard liquor. And just put the cloves in the jar and then cover it with any kind of vinegar or liquor. And then that'll keep indefinitely in your fridge. And now the rest of the ingredients. So I'm putting all my garlic in there. And then I have an onion that I kind of cut in wedges. And then I have a tomato, a big tomato that I just also cut in wedges. Just put it in there. And then in goes my salmon head, the 2 pieces, the 2 halves. And when I went to Thailand a few years ago, I went to this Japanese restaurant that had what they did was they somehow browned the salmon and then they braised it with soy sauce and sugar. And it was really delicious. I even went back again to make sure I knew how to do it. So one day I'm going to publish that recipe. Okay, the other thing you need is this sauce. It's called chili paste with soybean oil. Again, you can get it in Chinatown. So I'm just gonna, it's a little sweet and a little hot. It has, not very hot though, but it has some shrimp in it too. So kind of interesting. Okay, so let's see. Then some fish sauce. Of course, fish sauce is used all over Asia. And you can adjust the taste later. You can also add salt if you want. Okay, the last thing is the water. So you have to keep it moist to kind of cover it pretty much. And that's it. Very simple, right? You all can do this. I hope you will try it out because it's really delicious with all these flavors in it. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to cover it, bring it to a boil, and let it simmer for 1 hour. And we'll see you then. It's been 1 hour. The soup is done. It smells really good. Gonna scoot some in the bowl. Half a head is all it can fit in here. Put some tomatoes and onions. and some gravy or soup. Now let's taste it. Don't be freaked out by the eye and stuff because you don't have to eat that. But you can see underneath, there's a lot of meat in here. So I'm just going to taste some of the meat and the skin. It's very tender. Some bones in here, so watch out. It's really good. It's I can taste all the Asian flavors, the galangal, the sauce, and just the whole fish itself. It's really good, not fishy. This soup is not only delicious, but it has a lot of health benefits. For example, it's high in omega-3 fatty acids. It has iron, protein. It has vitamin D, B12, and it can also support brain function, weight loss, and also it has many other benefits. And nowadays, the people are saying you need to eat more food like salmon because of all the benefits, and less red meat. You know, we're eating too much red meats these days. So if you can eat something like salmon maybe once a week, or twice a week, it's highly recommended. And if you like this video on Thai salmon head soup, don't forget to smash that like button, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell so that you can be notified when we make great videos like this. Mahalo, and thank you for watching. See you on the next video. Really good.